Man, you're getting a standing ovation before you talk. You know that's good. You know that's good.
How's everybody doing?
I love, we're sitting here at one of the jewels of the HBCU system with a great product, from the HBCU system.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for coming from Winston-Salem here to Atlanta. All right, first question, confidence, talking about your HBCU background,
right.
Grew up in New York, spent time in Philly. Your brand is, unabashed confidence. That's what it is to me, at least. Mm-hmm. Where did that confidence come from?
I don't think that's my brand. I mean, I think that's a perception that I give off because I'm fearless in pursuit of my aspirations and of excellence. And so knowing that far more often than not, I'm not going to reach those goals, I'm never going to stop. And my mentality is, to shoot for the stars and you'll catch something. And that's how I go about the business of doing my work every day. You're not gonna do anything. You're not gonna accomplish anything if you never try. If you put roadblocks and impediments in your way, you're ultimately going to stymie yourself, and you're never gonna find out who you are and what you're made of. And most importantly, you're not gonna have a snowball's chance in hell of pulling that off if you're fearful. And you're so fearful that you're afraid to act because you're worried about naysayers and what they're going to say if you fail or whatever. I don't give a damn what they say. I fail today, I'll succeed tomorrow. Right. I don't succeed tomorrow, I'll succeed the next day, the next week, the next month, because there's always a new goal to accomplish.
There's no such thing as failure if you're learning. You either succeed or you learn.
Yeah.
And what you're also layering in there, though, is hard work. What you're saying, I'm fearless and you work really hard. I mean, Stephen had 2 shows already today, so literally, so right?
Yes,
so,
I did.
So, how do you not burn out?
Well, it helps. For once in my life, I can honestly say I'm in shape. I'm in the best shape I've been in 30 plus years. I work out all the time. I eat better. I take care of myself. For a long, long time, I was grinding, and I was grinding to the degree that it was killing me, to be quite honest with you, because I don't have a job, I have a career. A job is doing what you have to do to sustain or elevate your quality of life. A career is doing what you want to do, and it just so happens to do those things. And so I was very, very passionate about what I was doing. I was passionate about the goals that I had placed in front of me, the path that I was taking, and I was willing to outwork anybody. If people were asleep, I was up. If they were one place, I was another. You'd have beat writers, for example, when I was a beat writer for the Philadelphia Inquirer, when Jabari met me, you'd have people and they would all be huddled. And when they were talking to Allen Iverson, I would be talking to the GM. When they were talking to the GM, I'd be talking to Iverson or somebody else. I was always figuring out a way to position myself to stand out. And in the process of doing so, I knew that you had to work tirelessly because, chance favors the prepared mind. And you've got to position yourself to go about striving to get what you're after. And along the way, though, you're grabbing burgers, junk food, candy bars, and doing all of this stuff. And then, you look in the mirror one day and you're like, I'm not a very attractive person. This is not a good look. And then on top of it all, you start feeling, feel great, and you're waking up with headaches and all of that stuff. And then COVID came, and I was one of those people it almost took out of here. We're walking into, 2021, 2022, it's New Year's Eve, and I'm in the emergency room with my lady by my side, and, the doctor looks at me and says, we're gonna try these steroids and this antibiotic, and if it doesn't work, within 3 hours, we're gonna have to call your family. So, I'm looking at it, and I'm like, my girl, she just breaks down, she starts crying because she's like, I gave up. Because I was like, bump it. And the reason why I said that was because I don't smoke, I don't do drugs, I'm a very casual drinker, and my sister came down with COVID the same time I did. She was out, and she smokes every day, and she was fine in 3 or 4 days. And me, I'm in the emergency room 3 different times over 3 weeks, and I'm like, what the hell? It got me. And so, I actually thought it was just my time. And then once I ultimately survived through that, Dana White for the UFC found out about how bad off I was and introduced me, to this biologist, Gary Brecker, for 10X Health at the time, that's now the Ultimate Human, and he said, take care of him. He looked at my blood work and he said, every single problem you can have in the human body, you practically have. You're 0.1 point away from being a full-blown diabetic. Your cholesterol level's over 300. You this, you that. I mean, he just reading it off.
Right.
And, he gave me something like some sodium with some water to get rid of my headaches.
Yep.
And he said most people that think they hydrated, they think they're not hydrated enough. He said they think it's because of lack of water. It's not that. It's because of a lack of sodium. Mm-hmm. He said that's what's bothering you. Once he got rid of my headaches, because I had woken up with headaches since I was 19.
Right.
Up in this, now I'm in my 50s, and it got rid of the headaches. So I listened to him. And then I got on this health kick. Once I saw that progress, it became an addiction. And suddenly, 5-6 days a week, I'm making sure I do something, taking my vitamins, my supplements, exercise, and eating better. And the better I felt, the more lethal I became, because suddenly I wasn't tired the way that I was. Right. And I wasn't just pushing to the point where you feeling exhausted. No, I had energy and then some. Yep. And that's what made me even better. And so it was like a new lease on life, because I felt, hey, you can't stop me now because you couldn't stop me before.
When you were at that point where you were like, this could be it.
Yeah.
What were you thinking? What was going through your mind that?
It was shock. It was shock because I couldn't believe it. I was like, again, I do not smoke. I don't do drugs. Right. And I'm a very, very casual drinker. I like my Hennessy and Coke. That's 1 or 2 glasses, when I go out to dinner. If I'm not going out to dinner, I'm not drinking. I'm not home grabbing a Hennessy and Coke. And so I'm a very casual drinker at best. My drug is sugar. Like, even in my 50s, listen, I'm on my health kick, and my security backstage blocked me from the potato chips.
I saw that.
Because I saw the potato chips, and I'm like,
true.
I mean, it's Skittles, don't get me started with my cereal, my honeycombs, my sugar pops, my Fruit Loops. I mean, if it wasn't for, me prioritizing my health, you need to understand how bad it is for me. I could eat it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Yep. You see, I can go home, and not that I have that problem, but I could go home and there could be no food in the house. And if you got a bowl, if you got some cereal and milk, I'm good. So that's the sugar addict that I was.
But you don't, and you look good. What you were talking about, and again, I think that's true in any profession. You were a contrarian, where the pack's going this way, you're going that way. What was it like starting out in journalism? And again, we're the same age, and we're talking to the best room of black leaders in America. Yeah. You a lot of times, I'm sure you were the only one who looked like you in a lot of the rooms when you were starting, at least in terms of the kind of
sure.
How'd you navigate that, and how'd you over? Because a lot of people here have that same issue in some of the fields there.
Well, here's what I would say to you. Racism is a part of life. You're a black man, you're a black person in America. It exists. You know it exists. But you almost cannot pay attention to it. And the reason why is because it's not going away. It's not going anywhere. So we live in a time right now, and everybody, you'll have people that'll be up on stage here, and they'll leave from here, and they'll talk about, the climate that we're living in, the trials and tribulations, the trouble. And I'm like, really? It's always been this way for us. Sometimes it's more subtle. Sometimes it's more apparent and evident, but it never escapes us. And so, but I'm one of those guys that I've always focused on drawing a distinction between the system and individuals. The system itself is catered in such a way where if white folks catch a cold, black folks go catch pneumonia. It's always worse for us than it is for folks in white America. But that's not a license for me to look at you and say, you're racist, you're this, you're that, in a negative way. You judge the individuals you encounter on their individual character, and you march forward. Why? because that's who you're going to have to deal with anyway. You can sit there and say whatever you want to know. That's one of the problems that we got going on in this world today with the advent of YouTube, podcasts, and stuff like that. People think that they don't have anybody to answer to because you own your own YouTube channel. I own my own YouTube channel. I own my own YouTube show.
Right.
I have a show on SiriusXM. I am a part owner of that show. I am just getting a check. I share in the profits. Right. You understand? I own my own production company. I have all of this going on. There isn't a day that goes by that I feel like I'm a success. Right. I always feel like I'm scratching and clawing and climbing. That's the mentality. But in the same breath of feeling that way, I also understand that I don't just represent me. I represent the brand that I'm representing and the people I work for. If you're on YouTube, for example, you can get flagged. If they don't like some content, they can flag it. They can police it. They can restrict it from being disseminated. All of those things. It's just a reminder that everybody has to work with and answer to someone every day of our lives. And when you know that, you don't become fixated on the obstacles that stand in your way. Instead, you look at the obstacles and you say, how do I overcome it? Because if I can overcome this one, I can overcome the next one and the next one and the next one. And why is that so important? Because it doesn't have a debilitating effect on your soul and your spirit, which could serve to impede your progress. You don't let it dwell and overtake you to the point where it stymies your development. There are a whole bunch of people in this room that obviously are highly successful, visionaries, accomplished individuals. We all know, whether it's family, it's friends, it's hanger-ons, or whomever, we all got anchors in our lives or very nearby. Somebody whose attitude just ain't right. They got excuses lined up for the lack of accomplishments and achievements. They've got the roadblocks, they've got the impediments, they've got all of those things laid out to express and verbalize to anybody who'll listen. Winners don't stick around people like that. Winners point to, that ain't gonna work for you. I'm not gonna let that invade my life, because if I sit back listening to you, I'm gonna be stagnant. I'm gonna be paralyzed and stripped of the ability to just go out there and get it done. That doesn't mean you don't complain. It doesn't mean that you don't have your moments. It doesn't mean that you don't highlight the challenges and how arduous they may be sometimes. But nothing must be allowed to stop you. And anybody that equates to a stop sign in your life, you run through that damn stop sign. You run through that damn stop sign.
You mentioned, and the consistency, you mentioned you're doing these things on YouTube, Sirius, ESPN. The consistency, though, and what you're running through to make it consistent is your brand. That is the consistency. When did you realize that did not just have a job? The way you have a career, the way you have a business is to have just like you own parts of a lot of the things you're on, that you have a brand. Was that a conscious decision or did that evolve?
Man, I'm 57 years old, and I think when I first really embraced the fact that I have a brand was about 2 years ago. There's a guy that's very near and dear to me. It's my guy, Rashawn McDonald, who's in my life. Yeah, I could call him a producer, but he's an all-purpose individual, and he's very big on the brand all the time. Drives me crazy because for me, I never think about it. I do what I do. And my attitude is the brand will marinate to me, whatever that is, because I'm going to be me. What has happened is that
you're consistently you, though. That's important,
well,
right?
again, because I know how to be me. I don't know how to be anybody else. I know how to be me. And so, when you...
A lot of people in your profession fake it.
Well, that's why they're not here. I'm sitting here, they're not. But here's the deal. When you take that path and you're doing what you do, here's what happened. I'm in pursuit of a contract with ESPN at the time. I have no doubt that it's going to be a record-breaking contract. And before the negotiations took place, which took a year, by the way, before that even began, knowing that the contract negotiations are coming up, As a black man, this is how you feel, whether it's true or not. You feel they're waiting for one slip up, one mistake. Anything. If you spray perfume, they'll say you passed the gas. I mean, it could be anything. And you're literally sitting there like, I gotta go to work every day doing what I do, knowing that the slightest thing can be interpreted and twisted in a fashion that will enable them to say, see, we can't trust him. And you have to remember, when somebody pays you, they're investing in you. And along the way, what that means is they're saying they trust you. You have to be trustworthy. You can't be somebody. You can't. Damn right. You cannot be somebody that they don't trust. So I had to establish myself as a trustworthy individual, but somebody who was a high-end performer as well. And that's when the brand kicked in, because now it's like, okay, who are they trusting? It's not just me, the individual. It's what I stand for. It's who I represent. It's how I resonate to the masses. All of those things come in. Okay, well, what are the masses saying about you? How do they feel about you? What do they think about you? What are the pros and the cons? What are the do's and the don'ts? What are the whys and why nots? And answering that question was when I faced the fact, okay, this is the Stephen A. Smith brand. I accepted it and I marched on from there, because I knew even if I wanted to tweak it or twist it or anything, whatever people felt about me, I had everything to do with, because I was the one who presented myself to them for the last several decades. I can't blame them for how they're looking at me. I have to own it, and that's what I did.
Great. And, reportedly, 5 years, over $100 million.
Something like that.
So that's, but, so I guess for this group, because what you're bringing up is all super true, how do you, you use the brand, they're doing a deal with it. It's not just, you weren't a salary anymore. You were saying you're doing a business deal with a brand and with somebody who represents something.
Yeah.
So what's the lesson for this group? Because, we talk a lot here, at the BLK Summit about how you advocate for yourself, how you know your value. What's the biggest lesson you took out of that for this group?
Well, one of the things is to make sure that you're trustworthy. It's important. And what I mean by trustworthy is, whatever you present yourself to be, make sure you know beforehand what you're presenting yourself as being. That imagery and that presentation that you put forth, maintain consistency. You can elevate, you can grow, but I can't look at you and see a foreigner compared to what was presented to me when you're looking to do business with me, because then I can't trust it. You're like an amoeba, you're all over the place. I don't know who you are, what you stand for. I don't know what you're bringing to the table. You have to make sure that you have something to offer. You have to be committed to that. You have to understand that when you want people to do business with you, you're telling them that you have, whether it's a service or product or anything, this is what I'm bringing to the table. I'm not here just to take. I'm here to give. One of my famous sayings is and it happened after I got let go by ESPN in 2009. And what I learned from that experience is that in the aftermath of that experience, I said I woke up every day with two purposes. Number one, how do I make my boss's money? And number two, how do I get some of it? Now, people look at it in a very simplistic way and they say, damn, it's about money, it's about money. Pay attention. First of all, everything's about money in this day and age because ain't nothing free. So let's just get over that. Okay, that's number one. Number two, what do I really, really mean by that? Why do I come up with that statement? Here's why. If you're a boss and I come to you committed to making you money, you're going to listen to me. You want to hear what I have to say. Because essentially, I'm not coming to you with a problem. I'm coming to you with solutions, potential. Because that is the case, your door is always open. I don't get on the phone. I can't pick up the phone and call the chairman of Disney or ESPN or the president of content or the executive VP and they ignore me. It's not because I'm Stephen A. It's because of who Stephen A. has proven to be. When I call you, you know there's a purpose and a method to the madness of me picking up the phone to take up seconds and not minutes of your time. I'm presenting that to you and I'm showing you, hey, this is what I think could work for us. What are your thoughts, et cetera, et cetera. And because of that, it entices them to want to listen. And before long, all of a sudden, instead of just listening to you about what you're presenting to them, they'll pick up the phone and call you, want to talk to you about something. We got this issue, we got that issue. What are your thoughts? What do you think we should do? Where's your head at, et cetera, et cetera. And your opinion and your thoughts are important before they reach a conclusion because you've proven to them that you're in it for them, not just yourself.
What you're saying is you can be the highest paid person in an organization and the best value in the organization as well.
Okay.
And that's you know.
That works.
And that's how you make the money.
Nothing
All
wrong
right,
with
let's talk. In 2015, I spent a lot of time with Donald Trump, and my conclusion, even all the way until Election Day, was he actually didn't want to get elected president. He saw this was the best marketing opportunity in the history. Like he didn't put that much money into the campaign. He was doing, he was kind of just doing a glider campaign, and he realized, wow, I get so much attention for doing this. This is great. People care what I say about things. I got invited to speak at things. The question I got is, Stephen A. Smith, 28, are you serious about that, or is that fun? Because we're seeing
it's hard to say. And the reason why I say it's hard to say, because I'm not joking when I say it. I believe I can beat them all. I believe I can win the presidency if I really put my heart to it. I truly do. I don't want to do it. I'm not a politician. I have no desire to be a politician. And the reason I have no desire to be a politician is because I see the chaos on Capitol Hill. I see 100 senators. I see 435 congressional figures. I need a majority of them. I need to coax them into seeing my way and flowing along with me, which means I got to flow along with them, which means it's quid pro quo, and I got to curry favors, return favors. I got to beg for money because you're on the campaign trail and nothing's free. That part I want no part of. And that's why I say it's highly unlikely that I would ever do it, especially with the money I'm making. I ain't trying to give up my money. I can tell you that right now. But the reason why I don't laugh about it and I don't dismiss it is for several reasons. Number one, loved ones, including my pastor and others, was like, leave the door open because you never know what God has planned. Number two, when you talk about somebody like a Donald Trump and talk about marketing, you talk about him resonating. Well, if I was on the campaign trail, let's see what I would do, because I'm not playing. I don't like what I see. And when I think about it from that standpoint, I cannot tell you how badly I wish that I did not have to be an elected official. I did not have to run for office, but I could get on the debate stage with these people, with what they have done to our country. And I'm not talking about just this administration. I'm talking about all of them. I'm talking about all of them. They all make me sick to some degree. I'm not talking about individuals, but I'm talking about the structure. What transpires on Capitol Hill is some disgusting nonsense. And America, the American citizen, has been played as suckers. And they haven't had anybody to call them out the way I would be able to call them out. See, Donald Trump was hosting.
You're hitting a lot of the Trump notes.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, you can say that, but what I'm saying to you is that he was doing The Apprentice, and then the cameras flocked to him. I don't need the cameras to flock to me. I have cameras. I have my own television show. I have 2 radio shows. I have a podcast. I own my own production company. I can get in front of the camera any damn time I want to. I don't need cameras to come to me. I can turn on the cameras literally from my house. So I don't need that. And I'm saying to you, I would love to debate them for them to justify the things that they have done to this country on both sides of the aisle, because I think they've played us all as suckers, and it really ticks me off. So in that regard, I leave the door open because I want that palpable fear that I may be on that stage in 2027 debating them, because I'm telling you, if there's a way that I could do that without having to campaign for dollars in order to be a viable candidate, to go through that apparatus, Trust you me, I'm not ruling it out because it really, really breaks my nerves, what they have done.
At the very least, they should make you a moderator at this.
No, moderated ain't it. No, I can't say the things that I'd want to say as a moderator.
You don't want to ask the
The
question.
way that I'd want to call them out as a moderator.
Right.
I'm not interested in being a moderator. I'm interested in standing up against them and say, how do you justify doing this, this, and this to the American people?
What's the one thing, if you could be anointed president, that you would most want to fix?
Well, first of all, poverty. It's the number one thing. We're as strongest as our weakest link. You know, when you see individuals desolate and depraved to some degree because they don't have a pot to piss in, figuratively speaking, that's a shame on us as a nation. We're the richest country in the world. How the hell does that happen? It happens because you're doing something with the money that you ain't supposed to be doing. How do we know this? How are we $37 trillion in debt? What have you done with our money? I mean, in the state of California, you got 13% state income tax. You got feds at 39%. See, I know this stuff because I know how much money I've lost. I know how much money I haven't seen that should belong to me. I see a lot of this stuff. Of course, affordability, safety in the streets, incredibly important. Controlling our borders, yeah, you know, I have some conservative views. I have many liberal views. I'm fiscally conservative from the standpoint that I don't like high taxes. But in the same breath, I'm a live and let live kind of person. And then you have people trying to convince you being an independent, that's weak because you're not taking a position. I said, I'll give you a perfect example. I'm pro-life. I'm not for abortion, but I'll be damned if I think I have a right to tell a woman what to do with her body. Don't tell me I can't be both. I can have this belief system for me, but still be a conscientious observer and a decent man to say, I have no business telling a woman what to do with her body. I can sit up there and say, we should not have open borders. But in the same breath, you know what? Don't just go terrorizing law-abiding citizens and booting them out of the country or separating children from their family. There's got to be a better way. I can talk about how criminals need to have their ass in jail, but in the same breath, when you're changing laws and criminalizing everything to the point where, you know, you're going to let somebody that's sniffing cocaine off the hook, but somebody that's smoking a joint, you want to incarcerate them, I got a problem with that. These are all things that you can address with common sense and literally go about the business of saying, tell me how this makes our country better. Because I know this for me. I'm a black man, I'm a proud black man, and I'm gonna always look out for us. But when it comes to looking out for my people, my black people, I want everybody to understand this. Looking out for you ain't telling you what you want to hear. It's telling you what you need to hear. You know, and as a person that's been in the game, that's been in corporate America 30 plus years, that has access to politicians, you know, over the last 2 weeks, I've interviewed Governor Josh Shapiro of Pennsylvania, Governor Spencer Cox of Utah, Senator Lindsey Graham, Bill O'Reilly, Bill Maher, Senator Joe Manchin, who just retired. I just had Speaker of the House, Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries. I just had him on my show yesterday. I've talked to a lot of these people. I know Westmore, Baltimore. I know Gavin Newsom in California. I know former Governor Chris Christie from New Jersey. There's an army of people that I know. So I got access to information that the average person doesn't have access to. So when I come out and I'm looking at my people and I'm looking at us and I'm telling folks what's going on, I'm not looking for somebody's approval. I'm telling you, yo, I'm looking out. Listen to what I'm saying. I'm good. I'm telling you because I'm giving you a heads up about something you may not have been alerted to that I've been alerted to. Unfortunately, you got a lot of folks in America that'll look at you, and because you haven't echoed what they wanted you to echo, they'll be ready to attack you because they didn't agree with what you said, instead of realizing I might not have agreed with what I said. I'm just letting you know that's what they telling me. Be alert, wake up, you know what I'm saying? And see it that way. That's looking out. And we don't have politicians that's looking out for us. Stephen A. would look out.
I see a lot of nodding. Who here is ready to volunteer for Stephen A. 28? Raise your hand. We got a bunch. You
ain't got to worry about that. I ain't giving up my money. I giving up my money.
All right, well, let's, this session was originally supposed to be 20 minutes. We're 30 minutes in. I want to hold you hold you for another 5 minutes. We'll do a little exercise in democracy. Who wants to have a little overtime with Stephen A., right? You know, all right. So in overtime, I want to do lightning round questions. Quick questions, quick answers. And if anybody wants to ask a question, also put it in Slido. They advertise that it's on your app, and we'll Sprinkle in some of your own questions. All right, we'll get you out right
No,
again. I know.
no. I got 10 to 15 minutes. I don't want to leave. I'm good.
All right, I like it. Who wants? Let's do it. All right, we'll do a couple of political questions, then we'll get back to business and a bunch of other stuff. All right, if you ran, who would be a good running mate?
For me
For
personally,
you.
I really, really like Wes Moore, the governor of Maryland. I really. Policies aside, because if you're a Democrat, you like him. If you're a Republican, you may not. His soul is in the right place. He cares about people, and he cares about what's in our best interest. But he's also a realist, he's a pragmatist, and he's responsible enough not just to tell people what they want to hear and do what they want to do in the moment without seeing a bigger, longer-term vision. I believe in that man, and I got a lot of faith in him, and quite honestly, I hope he runs.
Yeah, I've spent a lot of time with him. Agree, he's super impressive. Follow-up question then, would America be ready for a ticket with two black men?
No. Not. Let me say this to you. 77 million voters wouldn't be. That's how many people voted for Donald Trump in the last election. 77 million voters wouldn't be. I don't think they would be ready for that. I don't think they would be ready to vote for somebody from the LGBTQ community as well. I don't think they would. I don't think they would be ready to vote for two women on a ticket. One, yes, not two. I think that would also be it. Josh Shapiro, as a result, would be another, the governor of Pennsylvania. He'd be another viable option, in my opinion. I don't know if Gavin Newsom would be, even though he's sharp as a tack, he's smart as hell, and he's ready to fight. I think that they would show the taxes in California, the affordability issues, the crime and the homelessness, and the environmental issues as well. And I think they will hold that against them, and they would be worried that that would invade the country and that would hold them back.
Quick slogan, what would be the slogan?
Say what?
What would be your campaign slogan? Stay off the weed doesn't count. So.
Yeah. What would be my slogan?
Yep.
Buckle up.
We'll mix here. What athlete would make a good president?
Well, he certainly knows how to dance. I would say to you, the athlete, Chris Paul, CP3. I think that CP3 is a brilliant young brother whose heart's in the right place, who's business savvy, and undercover-wise, incredibly connected. Mm-hmm. He's a guy.
He ran the Players Union.
Yeah. Players Union, yes. He is a guy that can get in front of the right people and get them to be on his side.
Which athlete who people look up to would actually be a terrible president?
I'm not going to answer that question.
Still got to get the interviews. I get that. All right. Finish this sentence. Leadership is blank.
Leadership is sacrifice. Leadership is tenacity. It's a tireless, tenacious, unrelenting pursuit of excellence, even when you believe you may never achieve it. And it's also caring about the people you lead enough to sacrifice some of yourself for their betterment.
Check. Spencer Dukoff asked, you built your career on opinions. What's something that you've done a 180 on and changed your mind about in a big way?
A 180?
A 180.
That I changed my mind about? Ownership in the world of business. I didn't know it would be this hard. I didn't know that no matter what I achieved, I'd wake up every morning feeling like I haven't achieved anything. I didn't know that every single day that I wake up, my thoughts would be dominated by what needs to be done instead of what I've already done. Does it mean I would change it? No. But what it does mean is that I would have prepared myself more mentally for the challenges, because I'm hard. It's hard for the people who love me to be around me, because obviously I've been blessed and fortunate. Again, my contract with ESPN, my deal with SiriusXM, the other things that I have going for me, etc. I'm living a good life. I've been incredibly, incredibly blessed by God. And people who've achieved less, who have less, obviously look at me and they see all that I have and they're like, what is your problem? And what they don't see is that you set a goal and you're like, how am I going to achieve this goal? How do I pull this off? I have, whether it's freelancers, contractors, or flat out employees, I have about 22 people working under me. And they're my responsibility. They have a job to do. They have obligations. But if I don't achieve, I can't continue to ensure that their lives and their quality of life is going to be what it is. And that's leadership, that's ownership, that's a tremendous, tremendous responsibility. Yep. And because of that, it's devoid of peace. You don't have peace because you're like, on to the next. And because they don't own with you, even though they love you and they work for you or with you, they don't quite get that that's how it is. They want you to smell the roses. They're so proud of you and they love you and they want you happy and they want you to smell the roses, and you're like, you smell the roses. The things that I'm able to do that facilitates you smelling the roses, that's my smelling the roses. I got this to achieve. And I'm not sure that's the right attitude to have. I'm just saying that a lot of times it can't be helped. And I didn't know that until I became a business owner.
A very famous, the benefit of that is a very famous person once told me, black entrepreneur actually told me, that until you own, if you don't own, you're just well paid. Until you own, that's when you can be rich. So it comes with those responsibilities.
Well, sometimes you don't feel rich.
Yeah,
again,
you feel burned.
Because you feel like, again, the standard is the standard, as Mike Tomlin, the coach of the Steelers, once said. And it's like, you set a goal. And if my goal was for my business to be here, I recognize that it's not here. But if it's here, that ain't good enough. Yep. Because I set it for here. And so that's why the work is so important, because you're committing yourself to the task at hand. You're married to the process. You can't be married to the end game. Because let me tell you what all successful people do. They don't stop. If you set a goal and you achieve it, the minute you achieve it, you're thinking about what's next. You don't stop. So it's incredibly, incredibly important that you have the attitude that, there's no stop sign. Right. You got to keep going.
But do you ever take a pause and actually appreciate and enjoy that? You're achieving amazing things and you're moving really fast. Do you ever step back and go, wow, this is pretty good right now, or you just keep on?
I don't say it's pretty good. I will say this. I have two beautiful daughters. I'm in love with them. They're my everything. And to have lost my mother in 2017 after a long battle with cancer, I never thought I would ever know happiness in my life again. And that's no knock against, I've got so many people. My sisters are still alive. I got my security, who's my big brother, Juvie, my personal assistant, Sumatra, who's my ace, my lady over here, Katana, who I love dearly. But I never, ever, ever looked at life after I lost my mother and thought that I could be happy. And it's just amazing, when my daughter Samantha FaceTimes me, and it's like, she's like, Dad, and she's driving me crazy, but I know I don't care because it's her. Or my Nyla is like, Daddy, when she hears my voice, and she responds that way, it paralyzes me. It stops me in my tracks, and in that moment, for those few seconds, nothing matters. nothing. And if I did something to make them smile or to make them happy, those are my roses.
I get it.
Because if you didn't have anything to offer, chances are they wouldn't smile as much and they wouldn't be as happy. And then you'd really be miserable. And I'm blessed to not have that problem.
Nice. I got 2 daughters, and I hear you. All right, two more quick ones, and we'll get you out of here. One, this is a personal indulgence. The first thing I did when I graduated from college was I scrapped together some money, and I bought 4 Knicks season tickets in the Blues. I've had them 30 years. I still have the same tickets. Mm-hmm. We gonna win the championship this year or what?
No, you're not. No, you're not.
I thought we're not.
I think the Knicks are gonna go to the finals, though. I think it's by default. I think it's by default because you have several people that have Achilles tears and their teams are compromised. But Orlando's coming, Detroit's coming, Cleveland messed up last year. I think they're gonna try to make up for it this year. But I think there's too many injuries in the Eastern Conference that the Knicks should be able to take the conference by default.
But
I damn sure ain't picking the Hawks. But the point I just think that they have a chance. But when I think about the Oklahoma City Thunder, who the reigning defending champions, when I think about KD in Houston, even though Van Vliet tore his Achilles, when I think about Denver, but Dallas, if Kyrie Irving and Anthony Davis get healthy, the Dallas Mavericks could win it all.
Oh, there you go. Last
no,
question.
They're going home in the second round. You know.
What do you want? Last question. What do you want your legacy to be?
Well, when I think about legacy at this, it changes, believe it or not, over the years. I wanted to be a preeminent voice in America. I've accomplished that. I wanted to be considered one of the very best in the history of sports. I think I've accomplished that. I certainly wanted to reap the benefits that came along with it, meaning the success. I've done that. But now, because of the transition into social commentary and politics combined with still being in sports and the impact that I've been blessed to have, I think when we think about legacy is who have you uplifted? What lives have you touched? The youngsters out there, like, when I bring up my YouTube channel and stuff like that, I say that, but I don't think people really, really understand what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to have a show. I'm trying to build a network because that means I want folks on the come up. I want to uplift them. I want to counsel them. I want to guide them. I want them to soar and I want them to fly. When we talk about a legacy, I want my legacy to be that I didn't forget us, that I made sure to reach back to provide a helping hand, and to make sure that I was true to my word when I said Jay-Z, Shaq, and LeBron and people like that. That's a pipe dream. You can't be them. They're a 1 in a billion shot, but you could be Stephen A. Smith. You could get left back in the 4th grade with a 1st grade reading level. You could have dyslexia. You could have naysayers telling you what you can't be. You could put your head down and work your ass off and do everything that you can to edify yourself, to become a bit more intelligent and wise. And in the process of working your behind off to do all of those different things, you achieve great things they said you could never achieve. And along the way, not only did you do that, but you made sure to diversify not only a show like First Take, but a network. You made sure to build another network and to make sure that you reached back to help those. You had young cats, black and white, Hispanic and otherwise, male and female, coming to you for advice and counsel, and you never turned them away. You did what you could to lend a word of support, a helping hand, some pearls of wisdom that was bestowed upon you. Not because you were so kind and so sweet and you so special, but because you knew it was your obligation to do so if you wanted to uplift your community and make the world a better place. That is who I am. That is who I've always been. That is who I will always be.
And you walked the walk here with us. He was supposed to be here 20 minutes. 45 minutes in, We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And by the way, I was watching, not one person left the room for 45 minutes. We really appreciate you and appreciate your time, and thank you everybody for sticking with us. Stephen A. Smith. Thank you, sir.
I'll take care.